All right, we did part 1 of 3 for drama, elements of drama, and now we are doing our second section. So we're not going to rewrite this in our table of contents because this is all still part of drama. We're just doing it in on a couple of different pages. So I'm going to go ahead and put elements of drama right here. We're going to circle it around. And today we're actually talking about 4 different parts of elements of drama. So I have a nice 1, 2, you might want to make that circle a little bigger than I did. 3, oh, make that circle bigger than I did too. And 4. I am going to move this down so that my picture doesn't cover up the circle up here. And our 4 sections that we're touching base on today are going to be cast, dialogue, protagonist, and antagonist. So we have our cast, and then we have dialogue, protagonist, and antagonist. If you can't see these at the bottom, don't worry about it. I will be moving this up when we get to them to talk about them, okay? So, cast. When we're talking about cast, and in our last lesson, you saw I pointed out the cast of characters. So a cast is a list of characters who appear in the play. These are going to be major characters, minor characters. Anybody who shows up is going to be listed in that cast. Now, when you're doing a play, it's not quite the same as whenever you are reading a book. The characters in the play actually have to say something because they're acting it out. They're pretending they are that person. And so when we do that, we have that called dialogue. And it is exactly what the characters say. And in just a second, I am going to pull out our play and we'll talk a little bit about our cast and our characters and where the dialogue is. All right, the other part of this is our protagonist and our antagonist. Pro means like, oh, you're pro chocolate for breakfast. That means you're for chocolate for breakfast. That means that you're rooting for the chocolate for breakfast, and hopefully you guys are always rooting for the main good guy. So it is the main character who's doing the good stuff, who's helping others, it's basically the main character trying to solve the conflict. And then you have your antagonist. And when you antagonize somebody, you bother them, you're upsetting them. And so an antagonist is the main bad guy. It is the evil guy, the one that's causing all of the problems. So let's take a look at our story. This is the same play that we talked about in our last lesson. So if you want to pull that back out so you can look at it, that would be a great idea. But right here is our list of characters, just like we talked about. Oh, and these are all the people right here that are going to show up in that story for a few minutes, for a few lines, or for the whole entire story. There's going to be the list of characters. Now, when you get into the actual play itself, your characters are listed right here, and it tells you, hey, this is narrator 1. And when you see narrator 1 and then those 2 dots, right after that, this is narrator 1's dialogue. So that's exactly what narrator 1's going to say. And then you have narrator 2. And then you have narrator 2's dialogue. Exactly what they're going to say. the words, the exact words that they're going to speak. They're not going to go, narrator 1, a long time ago in a small village in southern Africa, there lived an old man. Narrator 2, the old man had 2 grandchildren, and a girl and a boy. No, you'd have narrator 1 and narrator 2. And narrator 1, a long time ago in a small village in southern Africa, there lived an old man. The old man had 2 grandchildren, a girl and a boy. So they'd go back and forth like that, talking and using those words and pretending that they were having this actual conversation. Now, I am going to give you guys a little bit of a heads up. If you have not read it, I apologize, you're going to get a spoiler. But when we start reading into this, we don't actually have our protagonist in here. We don't meet our protagonist until we get to Act 2. And our protagonist is our tortoise. He's our main good guy. He's the guy who's going around and doing all the good stuff for the other animals. And our antagonist, the one who's kind of rude and not very nice to the tortoise, is going to be our hyena. He is our antagonist, the main bad guy. Okay? If you have any questions, feel free to make sure you ask your teacher, or feel free to ask your teacher. Be ready to discuss this in your next class with your teacher, and I will see you guys next time.